everybody, it's Gail from Gail's Bookish Things. I thought I'd share with you today a little bit of what I'm doing in my new Bible. I did a video a couple days ago comparing three different ESV versions of the Bible. Not three different ESV versions, three different sizes of the ESV version. So this is the one I recently bought. I want to say it was about $30 on Amazon. It's a bonded leather cover, which means it's a mix of leather scraps and a sort of a upholstery type material, or I forgot what they said. Let's see. Let me look at my notes so I can tell you. Yeah, I don't have it in front of me anymore. Anyway, it's not fully leather. But that's okay because I didn't want a very expensive Bible that I was going to mark up, I guess you could say. I wanted it to feel like it was okay to do the writing and coloring on it. If I had a super expensive one, I might want to just keep it for reading versus kind of using as a everyday Bible study tool. So this is a cute little clip from Donna. Thank you, Donna. And these butterflies flew in from her direction and landed here to keep me company. What I did was I had printed off these tabs. So let's see if we can get an angle here. That's readable or visible. They come looking like this on a big sheet. I printed these from an Etsy shop called Splendiferosity, and they were really inexpensive. They were like, I want to say $1.50 for the Old and New Testament, and a couple additional tabs like a concordance tab, map, the Old and New Testament label, one for the dictionary, and one for the introduction. This Bible, I think, has an introduction, but it doesn't have those other features. It's a very basic Bible, which is just fine. Of course, it has the Old and New Testament, but not the resources. My other Bibles have that, but I didn't want to put tabs in those. I wanted to try tabs before putting them in other Bibles, and I wanted to try making them. I finally decided, so that I didn't spend $20 to $30 on a cool set from an Etsy vendor and then find out I don't like them. So I was looking on Etsy and I found this shop, Splendiferosity, and I liked her or his, I can't remember if it's a man or woman, but I like this print. I like the, it looks like typewriter font in capitals. It turned out to print pretty big, maybe bigger than I expected, and at first I'm like, those aren't going to work, but they did work. So what I did was I used my tab punch and cut out several tabs, making sure I left the fold in. So let me show you that. It's this. There may be others. This is the only one I'm familiar with. And it looks like this on the back. So when you fold over your little piece of paper, as long as you don't get it up into this edge, you'll get the fold. So you just have to kind of eyeball it and make sure it's not snipping through the top fold. And if that happens, then you get a flat individual tab, which is a good thing, depending on what you want to use. And actually, as I'm thinking about it, I wonder if I would have done them, maybe I should have done them that way, just done them single instead of with the fold, so that it wouldn't bulk up so much. As you can see, it does kind of, taper, or I guess you don't taper out, you taper in, but it gets fuller towards the end. Now if I had just done them single, I wish I would have thought of that, and I could redo it, but I don't want to. Anyway, that would add a little less bulk. But I don't plan on adding lots of tip-ins or decorations like I do with my journaling Bible like I mentioned previously in the other video. I just want to make this about study. I don't think I finished what I was saying. So I printed the tabs. They come in the black with white lettering, and they come with white with black lettering. I just printed the black background. I printed them on sticker paper, the solid sticker paper, versus a clear. And after I had cut out all my tabs, I adhered the stickers. Then I went back and washi taped them in. So that to say, I can take these out if I decide I don't like them, and if I'm careful, I shouldn't rip a page. So I didn't use a tape runner, or I didn't use a glue, because it just wasn't sure. And also, if you buy some on Etsy, you can get them with adhesive already attached, which would be much easier. But I did make a mistake here and there where I skipped one, and I'm like, back up. It wasn't a big deal with the washi. It'd be a little bit more of an issue with one that was self-adhering. But this was a good trial. For the first 5 books, which are referred to as the Torah, or the books of Moses, I picked this kind of vintagey, primarily yellow. So I used a scrapbook paper that was the same based on what kind of book it was. So Joshua through Chronicles, Ezra, I did in this brick scrapbook paper. And well, Nehemiah and Esther as well. Those are Old Testament history books, history of social, spiritual, different things of the Israelites, Hebrews. And then the poetry books, I picked this scrap book paper, kind of like a cardstock, I guess. It's not really paper, but it's not real thick, so I guess it's called cardstock. Kind of a blue floral, sort of. I mentioned these before. All these are 99% of them are from a vintage-looking paper supply kit, like pad, where all the papers coordinate. Major prophets: Isaiah, Ezekiel. Let's see. Let me try to get those from behind. There's 5 of the major prophets: Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel. I did in this graph. And then this, I tried to kind of match up the washi at first to go with the tab color I was using. Let's see what the blue one looked like. I had a blue, like Picasso. Or was it Van Gogh? I always get those mixed up. Oh my gosh. Anyway, doesn't matter. I tried to match the washi with the tabs, and then I just didn't have that much variety, so I kind of started just using whatever. So the minor prophets are these variation of florals with the stripe washi, so on. Okay, then the New Testament, I used the green tab background and use this green, it's Van Gogh, a different Van Gogh washi tape. Then all the other books except for Revelation are called letters, or the epistles. They were letters to various churches in the New Testament era. I used, each book has its own scrapbook paper except for the 2 if there are multiple letters. So for example, 1st and 2nd Corinthians both have this, like, what do you call that, like ticking, pillow ticking, something like that looking paper. Each of these individual ones are all just slightly different with a different washi. Then when you get to 1st and 2nd Timothy, I used map scrapbook paper with a kind of a looks like a vintage envelope kind of thing with the red and white on there and blue. So that kind of made sense to me, travel sort of idea. And anytime they were like 1st and 2nd, or 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, then the papers in the washi were the same. And then prophecy book, Revelation, is on a tab that's sort of an advertisement looking one from a French paper advertisement of some vintage era. And then I used just this Believe washi, which is really pretty, and I just had to stick on that little bit of the word piece because I didn't bring it over all the way. I got a little bit less particular as it went along because it was getting a little tedious, and I did it mostly all of it in one day. But I like how it looks. I think it's really fun. And as I said, I want this to be my study book. So it's going to have all the bells and whistles of studying, and I'm just enjoying that. Not holding back. Like I said, it was inexpensive. Certainly durable enough. It's the Smythe sewn, which means it's made up of several signatures that are groups of paper that are folded and sewn together, and then they're sewn to each other. It says in my note, each signature is sewn together individually and joined in with others to complete a book block. So it makes it very durable and less likely to, come out. The thing that probably maybe less likely to hold up is actually this cover, but I like how it looks. It's fine. Sorry, keep getting distracted here. This is what I wanted to show you at the very beginning. So in conjunction with a study book I'm doing that's going through the entire Bible in a sort of cursory form. It's a book by Daily Grace Co. as well. I'm seeing if I have one in front of me and I'll show you, but I don't think I do. So anyway, it goes through the general message of the Bible in general ways through the different sections of the Bible. And so I transferred some of the things I learned from that book to here and stated some things that might be obvious, but for me, writing it and highlighting it are very helpful in reinforcing it in my brain, making it stay. So I did the law, the history, poetry, major and minor prophets highlighted in one color, and what were those about. So basically speaking, the major prophets are longer books. The minor prophets are still prophets, they're just shorter, and they both contain messages of repentance and hope. And then so the history part is the theological history, political, social, and spiritual aspects of Israel. And then the books that are called poetry of the Old Testament include the nature and character of God in various ways. And then the New Testament, as I said, primarily letters to the churches, the Gospels. The New Testament history book is Acts, and then the main prophecy book is Revelation. So to me, this is super fun. It's like a visual aid there. I'm just really trying to absorb and embrace as much as I can. This actually does not have an introduction, but many of the Bibles do. This is just a basic journaling Bible, single column journaling. So it's not a study Bible. I'm using it for my study, but I have other books, other Bibles that are specifically study Bibles. But this is kind of like the bare bones. It's the Bible and not a whole lot other stuff, which is what I wanted for this purpose. As you can see, I've highlighted, this fit in with the book that is accompanying my study right now. I won't go into this whole system I did, but I did outline here and here what was created on each day. I circled repetition. I took little interesting notes, notes of things that were of interest to me, and also things that the study guide pointed out. And here I just made a little list of the verbs that speak of what God did through these first two books of Genesis. It was super fun. Now, somebody I've been watching, Crazy Simple Truth, her name's Nikki, she was saying how the mildliners go through the page. I really like the mild liners. I like the look that they give on the page. They are mild. They're not neon. They're gentle colors. They're pretty, but they do tend to show through a little bit. Usually, I mean, you can see there's like the ghosting, but there's little spots where like you get to the end of your highlight and the marker pools. They had mentioned going over, like do your highlight and then back up a little, or do your highlight, end it, and then swipe it with your finger to pick up that little itty bitty dab of extra ink. But it still kind of shows through, and it makes the page look a little bit like shadowy, maybe you could say. You can see it goes through here, like not all the way, but you can see what was written on the other side. That's not a big deal to me, but I don't know that I'm going to like a lot of the color seeping through. So I thought I would try my gel highlighters. This group is from this package, or these 5 are from the Daily Grace Co. I have my notes here. These are their Bible highlighters in gel, and they had fun little sayings. God is good, I am his. And I can't read the yellow one. I don't know. Bear something. It is well. Praise him. They're not holding up well as far as that goes. I really enjoy how these pens glide onto paper. But as you can see, the tip gets quite flat. You can sharpen them with a little pencil sharpener. They slide on really nicely. Very smooth. It maybe kind of makes me think of an oil pastel. These particular ones, if you don't let your ink dry, I noticed I just did this little test. So let me look for the kind of pen. This is the kind of pen I almost always use in Bible journaling. It's a Sharpie pen. It's like a fine tip gel pen. I think it's a gel pen. I don't know. Maybe it isn't, but I haven't had trouble with these in Bible journaling typically. I like writing with them, and I feel like they last a long time and they're quite inexpensive. But when I wrote on this piece of Tomoe River paper, by the way, Bible study, and then I highlighted it right away, it did smear quite a bit. Waiting a little bit longer, it was better. You can see, though, it still smeared some. And then I wrote those again, waited a little while, and it seemed to do much better with waiting. Although in my second group of writing that down, the yellow tended to smear as well. And you cannot write on these with what I have, which is the Sharpie, or I wonder if you used a broad tip maybe would work, but the Sharpie or my ink pen would not write over this gel substance. You know, think of like a real smooth crayon. It dries like, well, you can hardly even detect it. But when you first put it down, there's definitely a sort of gel type feel because it's a gel pen, but you can feel that. You need to let it dry a little. So with the Mr. Pen, where are my Mr. Pens? I decided to go ahead and get these since I wanted to do some studying and use this as sort of my workbook. I decided to get a variety of colors, and I chose these Mr. Pen Bible Safe highlighters. And I will just show you this blue one, but I do like a little bit better how the tip is on those. It comes to a rounded point. But they do go on. It's not really a but just however, or in comparison, this one feels super smooth. I did a little sampling of all the colors down here that are in this particular Mr. Pen set. Some of them felt like they went on more dry, and others seem to glide more. This one is one of the glidey ones. So if you're going to write, if you want to write over your highlight, the Sharpie won't work. Let's see, I have a bold tip one. Let's just see what happens with that. So you could maybe with a bolder tip pen, but the fine one did not want me to write over it. But it does kind of work there. So these are the colors that are in this kit set. Why don't I keep seeing kids? Just a set. I just looked, I don't even know that they have a specific name. But I was very drawn to the fact that they were inexpensive, that they got a lot of good reviews from other Bible study journalers, and like this was about $7, I think a little less than $7, and there's 12 pens. They're acid-free gel highlighters. They don't bleed on any paper, including magazines and Bibles. So let's look. I do have some scrapbooking stuff on the other side, but there's no bleed through at all really from either of these sets of pens. No smear across any ink. So yes, that's true if, well, I don't know if it's true with everything, but with what I wrote with, the Sharpie fine tip, once it was dry, there was no smear. Except a little bit on this one, so this was probably not, like I didn't write all these things at once. I wrote some, tested, wrote some more. They did not smear here, so my guess is that that was not dry enough there. But if you wanted to highlight and then write over it, that's not going to work real well. But if you write, let it dry, and then highlight on top of that, so you can highlight over writing, but you can't write on the highlighting, is what I'm finding with this combination. There may be other combinations that work. But I'm kind of excited about this kit. I do like their customer service policy. They have like a QR code thing here, and you can go to their Facebook thing and get a free, you scan it, and you get a free gift. But I'm not on that anymore, so I can't get it. That's okay. I don't really need it. And then you get this little mustache decal, which is apparently their kind of cute little logo. I'll probably put this on a journal page, just attach it there. But there's a lot of neat colors. So, you know, here I just did like I followed a color coding guide. Actually, I can show you. I have it here. I was thinking it was in my other Bible. I got this from Coffee and Bible Time. It's a printable you can get from their website. And I followed the purple, green, yellow, orange, blue suggested guidelines. You can do any color, meaning anything. That's just what I used. And I added pink for geography and location items. And then a couple things. Box in words to study. Star verse you would like to memorize. Question mark by something you don't understand or want to study further. Underline something that stands out or you want to meditate on. Circle repetition. Here they have using orange as repetition too, so I kind of got redundant there. I circled a lot of that and then I ended up adding orange, and probably didn't need to do both of those because then it kind of made this orange. This is a mild liner though. It looked kind of weak on the paper. It's not so pretty. So that's what I'm planning on using. I think I'll use a combination of these. I will sharpen these though, probably. These are really nice though. I love how nicely they slide on to the paper. They might be good for some other highlighting too. I really like the finer tip on these, but I will say that some of them felt a little more dry than these. This set was 5. This was about not even 7. So, I think I lost one. You're getting a little bit more with these, but some of them felt a little more dry, but I think, you know, it doesn't matter a whole lot because they were still very nice to use. It's just comparison, for comparison that I say that, because they all end up drying nicely. Let's see if I can kind of feel that, but it doesn't seem like it's, it seems like it's set. These feel very smooth and almost like absorbed into the paper. I feel the Mr. Pen ones a little bit more. If that matters, you know, I think it might matter as if it causes sticking to the previous page, but I don't know. And the nice thing, let me just point out, let's see, where's my Mr. Pen card? They will refund your purchase if you're not happy with the order for whatever reason, no matter how long it's been, and they give you an email address for that to replace or refund your order, no questions asked. So I feel like that's super good customer service, and for, again, less than $7, it's most likely I'll find a purpose for them if I don't end up liking them in my Bible. I do love the mildliners. Like I said, I like how they look. There's just the slight element of shadowing in some places where it's bleeding through, but it's not real bad. But that's why I decided to add a few more colors to my gel pens, so I had a few more options when highlighting things. You know, the mild liners are definitely like very easy to control and get the line you want and the thickness and so on. So we shall see which I end up liking the best. But that is that. I wanted to show you my Bible, the progress that's being done on sort of the setup there. And I just wanted to show you as well this little highlighter comparison. Got to feel those again. There's just a few, like right in there. I feel like those I can feel. It's that pink. Yeah, they definitely have more of a feel to them. A little bit of a, they're not smudging, but it feels like they could. Where these are much more soaked into the paper. This is, though, Tomoe River. It'd be interesting. I'll have to do a little comparison maybe in the back of my Bible. The back of this, as I mentioned, does not have all sorts of bells and whistles, as it were. It just has a reading plan, reading the Bible in a year, and it has this interesting chart of weights and measures. So that's not something I use a lot. It's interesting that they chose to put that, but I think it is kind of interesting. So, because you'll hear a term mentioned in reading the Bible, like a shekel. I'm like, okay, well, what's a shekel? So it tells you here. So it just takes the Bible time era. It's sort of just almost like we sometimes in the United States maybe need help with some of the metric system, because that's not what we're used to here. This kind of tells you what was what in the times in which the Bible was written. So there you go. I'm happy with the tabs. It's definitely a little bit of a tedious DIY project, but definitely worth saving the money till I determine how I like using them. And it was kind of fun. It just, you know, got to be like, okay, I want to be done with this. And being the type of person I am, I don't always stop and take a break. I just work till it's done, and then I get tired of standing and blah, blah, blah. So I'm glad it's done. I feel ready. Here's a few more of the tabs. You have to cut them apart. But, you know, $1.50, I thought it was a great deal. And I liked how they did their font, like I said. That's all for now. I have rambled on long enough, but I hope that's interesting to you. If this is something that you are considering purchasing, there's a comparison for you. The Daily Grace Co. gel highlighters and the Mr. Pen gel highlighters in the sleek, which I assume is the finer tip. I know there are countless other ones out there. That's just a little comparison of the items that I have. So I hope you have a good weekend. See you on Sunday, I hope, with the next ink of the week. And have a great weekend. Talk to you soon. Bye.